Coming right up, Straight Talk with Art Levine. Our guest tonight, Reggie Berry, Executive Director of Goals for Life, as we continue our 25th anniversary year.
Straight Talk is brought to you in part by the Port of Long Beach, a leader in international trade and environmental stewardship. And the Press Telegram, your local news leader for over 100 years. And Scan Health Plan, for your health and independence.
Join us for tonight's edition of Straight Talk. And now your host, Art Levine.
Good evening and welcome to Straight Talk. This is the last show of our season 2016, and no better guest than I can think of than Reggie Berry, who's here for the holidays. And Reggie, welcome to Straight Talk.
Thank you, Art. Thanks for inviting me.
You bet. Reggie was a Long Beach State grad, football player here, went on to play with the NFL for the San Diego Chargers, and then after that, he founded an incredible program called Goals for Life. Reggie, give us a sense first of what it's like to play professional football, and then your transition to Goals for Life.
Well, first of all, first thing I noticed, Art, was how great the athletes are in the NFL. You know, the guys you play with, like, if I can give you an example, one time I seen George Huey that practiced with me every day. He ran down Floyd Little, played with Denver. And so they said, man, Floyd, did you see Huey run down Floyd Little? Another guy looks at me and says, Huey ran 109.3. Wow. And I said, I practiced with him every day, but I didn't know he was that quick. So, tremendous athletes.
So you had a good career in football, and but then you transitioned into this program where former NFL athletes interface with some of our youngsters who are having some problems, and you change lives through Goals for Life. Tell us how it works.
Well, you know, we go into the schools, former NFL players, or juvenile facilities, we've been in there, and we set goals and we compare academics with sports. And we tell them that the same thing it takes to be good in sports is what it takes to do good in school or do well in life. If you have certain qualities and if you try to acquire those qualities, how can you lose? You know, you can only be successful. At least you'll be in the game.
Yeah. My dear friend, the late Larry Agajanian, who played ball for UCLA, captain of the team, and then went out to play with Green Bay for a while and got injured, but he always felt that there were a lot of lessons in sports that were applicable in life.
Sure.
Now, so you've, and the program, have mentored thousands and thousands of young men and women, and tell us how it works.
Well, we sit down in an atmosphere similar to this, and we sit down, we set goals, we talk about winning, we talk about losing. We have a winner's vocabulary, we teach them in a loser's vocabulary. And we just tell them the same, if you really want to win, you'll do certain things, but if you don't want to do those things, don't expect a positive outcome.
And, you know, if I or a professor went in to speak to those kids, they probably couldn't relate to us very well, but some of you guys came from difficult backgrounds and turned your lives around, and almost everyone looks up to athletes as kind of, or certainly youngsters look up to athletes, so you have a lot of credibility walking into a room with a bunch of kids.
Sure. You know, we tell them that reaching your goal is not just a thing, it's overcoming the obstacles that it takes to reach your goal.
Yes.
For instance, every football player, I have different players like Ron Brown, Olympic gold medalist, played in the NFL for 8 years. He speaks to the kids all the time. They would never know that he had to overcome obstacles, that he just wasn't a 9 flat 100-meter guy, and he always says, I made myself fast. Yeah. You know, and so how much work it takes, you know, to be good at something, anything that you want to do, it takes a lot of work. You know, the same thing it takes in football. If you put in the time and you put in the work, you may not be the best, but you'll be up there with the rest of them.
We've had the pleasure of having several Olympian athletes as guests on the show, and regardless of the sport, it always impressed me of the sacrifices that these athletes have to make to reach Olympian and forget about winning gold, silver, just to be in the Olympics is such a great accomplishment. And if that means we had a swimmer and a diver on it, spending 6 hours a day swimming, 6 hours a day, every day. And the thought is, well, and I forget who it was, but they said, well, if I'm not doing it, I know someone else is doing it, and I'm competing with that someone else for a berth on the Olympic team, so back into the pool. But you give up a lot, and you have to be willing to make that sacrifice.
That's what are you willing to give up to get what you want?
Yeah.
You know, and most people aren't ready to sacrifice, but if you're ready to sacrifice, and time is the main thing you have to give up. If you're willing to sacrifice time to be good at something, you can be good at it. You may not be the best, but you can be good at it.
And you've gotten dozens and dozens of other former NFL players to join you in Goals for Life. Tell us how that came about.
Well, players are always, I think, a good coach, a good teacher is a good coach, and a good coach is a good teacher. And I think a lot of players, most players are trained to be coaches. And so a lot of them, when they get through playing football, they want to work with kids. And what I'm trying to do is create a vehicle where they can do it. For instance, we just got Chris Ward on board. And Chris was a top draft choice, a Heisman Trophy, up for the Heisman Trophy in '77. And he's brilliant working with kids, about 6'5", and he weighs about 380. You know, great athletes. Used to be married to Jim Brown's daughter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he works with the kids.
And you've gotten about 100 of these former NFL players to work with you in the Goals for Life program.
At one time or another, there's been probably 100 kids former players speak to the kids. Not just former players, though. We get people from the community, like Dave Erickson owns freeconference.com. He does a wonderful job speaking to kids. And Steve Murrow, who's my president right now, has a contracting business. He hires them.
Wonderful.
You know,
Wonderful.
so he has a kid that he took from me, and now the kid flies drones and has his own program within his program.
So you are changing the lives of individual kids. And I've worked with the Police Athletic League when it was around, and I've spoken to officers that interact with kids, and there seems to be a consensus. It has to be one at a time. That you have to have someone who the kid believes in. It doesn't have to be a parent. Sometimes there are not two parents involved, but someone who the kid believes in and looks up to, and can change a life one person at a time.
Sure. We want to pat them on the back and tell them that they can, because most of them, their favorite word is I can't, or word is I can't.
They're always hearing no and can't, and here's an opening, a door that I can. Well, I was at your Goals for Life dinner just this past fall down at Gladstone's, and you had a couple hundred folks there, and it was a wonderful evening. And you do that each year, and the community responds to what you're doing.
It really does. We have some wonderful people in the community working in the program and on my board. You know, Tonya Reyes Uranga, that used to be a city councilwoman.
Tonya, yeah.
Yeah, I used to work for her in Orange, and she became a city councilwoman. And she's such a beautiful person. She really loves kids. You know, some people say they love them, but they really don't. But Tonya, you can tell everything she does is to help someone else or to help somebody's kid. So.
And you mentioned before we went on Braden Phillips, who was at the event with us.
Sure. And then we have Julie Boyd, and
yes.
she's a business lady. She helped me put everything together.
Yes.
You know, finally get some great board members like Rick Neal and Jim Emsley. So I'm just pleased right now how Goals for Life is going.
Well, it was an exciting evening, and we'll be continuing this great conversation after these messages.
At the Port of Long Beach, we're not only delivering jobs, smart ideas, and forward-thinking environmental initiatives. We're also delivering opportunity for all of Southern California. Oh, and a clearer horizon line. To learn more, go to POLB.com. The Port of Long Beach. Thinking outside the docks.
Water your grass for a little bit. Wash your car briefly cause it's not as stiff. You could take a shower but just make it quick. Water conservation is the only way. My dear old California, you're not dying today. Water conservation, my own motivation. Your participation to make it all great, sir. Water conservation. Trying to save a nation. Water conservation. Our problems we have to face them.
At Performance Plus Tire, you'll find we carry Toyo tires. For over 50 years, Toyo has been a world leader in the development of high-quality tires. Optimum performance, safety, and a comfortable ride. That's what makes Toyo tires great. And now come into Performance Plus Tire for a great deal on these Toyo tires. Proxys ST, Open Country AT, and Proxys 4. Toyo tires, driven to perform. Come in today and we'll install new Toyo tires on your vehicle while you wait. Performance Plus Tire on Cherry Avenue, 1 mile north of the 405 in Long Beach.
We're back having this wonderful conversation with this very special guest, Reggie Berry. Reggie, you were honored recently by F&M Bank. Each year they have an award ceremony, and you received, and there are award ceremonies based on ethical values that the bank embodies, and you received the Integrity Award. And if I can read just from the first paragraph of the printed program, Reggie Berry, you can learn a lot about success from the game of football. The game teaches valuable lessons on teamwork, courage, and the ability to triumph over adversity. For more than 25 years, former San Diego Charger Reggie Berry has been instilling these values in thousands of young people, and then it goes on. What was it like receiving this award?
You know, integrity is part of the winner's vocabulary in Goals for Life. You know, the first one is respect, and we say respect ain't treating people the way you want to be treated. It's treating people the way they want to be treated because you may not care. And then it's integrity. And we say integrity is to keep your word. And I tell the kids, if a grown-up says you have integrity, he's giving you a great compliment. That means at your age that you will keep your word. That's the way to be successful. So when I got the Integrity Award, it made me feel really honored because I received something that was part of our winner's vocabulary.
Wow.
I really felt honored by that. I think that's probably the best award out of things that I've had before. To say that I have integrity, that I really appreciate that.
Absolutely, and as you may know, I taught law and ethics at Long Beach State, your alum, your alma mater, for many years, and values to me are so important, and they're an underlying basis of this show. And I think the country is at risk for having the wrong values, or in some cases no values. So nothing is more important ultimately to the survival and success of a company, of a civilization, of a country, and certainly of a person than values and things like integrity.
Yeah.
And the kids hear and change because of these lessons they're learning from folks like you.
Because I believe what comes out of your mouth is what you are. You know, what you repeat over and over again is what you are. So if you're talking about, you know, having a winner's vocabulary and you repeat these words, you know, over and over again, I think I had a kid in my class, Art, that he was a gang member, and he was always, somebody else would interrupt, and he'd look at him, tell him to be quiet, and as soon as he looked at him, they would freeze up. He wanted to hear what I had to say, you know, and he was really interested, and I was really interested that he was interested. So over the summer, he told me he needed some weights, and at the same time, somebody gave me some weights, so I called him up and I said, I got some weights for you.
Wow.
That kid ended up being captain of the football team at Norwalk High School. And he started.
He'd been a gang member.
Yeah, he started. His team, the one he was captain of, started winning over there. You know, because he developed that winner's vocabulary and he knew what we were talking about.
I got involved when it existed with the Police Athletic League here in town, and we did several fundraisers for them. And what turned me on to that program was when they took some community leaders on a tour of their facilities, which were athletics, boxing, karate, and all. And there was a trophy room with all these gigantic trophies. And one guy who was the karate champion of the country or whatever, the competition, was so proud to have won this award. And his brother was doing life for murder, and he was the recipient of this award. And the difference was the Police Athletic League. He was in the program, and the brother wasn't.
You get somebody positive to pat you on the back, somebody that they respect.
Yes.
It can change their whole life.
It really can.
Yeah.
One person.
One person.
One person who believes in you, shows you respect, teaches you respect, can change that life.
Change your whole life. You know, and I also tell the kids all the time, it's the people that you meet along the way. You know, and I think in my experience in life, I've met some really great people that influenced the way I think about things. I've had good teachers. I can recall them at Long Beach State. I had some teachers that I really admired. My high school football coach, like most pro football players, the high school football coach had a big influence on their life. Mine, he used to pull me out of class and talk to me all the time, you know.
Our city auditor, Laura Dowd, was a guest on the show, and she used this metaphor. She compared life to a marathon, because you have to be in it for the long run, not the short. But as you go through this long run, people along the way help you out at different stations in the marathon with water and carbs. And conversely, she said, and then you need to help other people out as they go in there. I thought it was a wonderful metaphor.
You not only take, and you have to give. You know, if God gives you a gift, you got to give it away. You know, and that's what I always thought about. When I was in high school, and I used to walk on the campus in the middle school, I noticed how the little kids would respond to me because I was a good athlete, because my brothers were good athletes. And so I could say things to them and they'd listen to what I was saying.
You know, we learned as kids, sticks and stones can break our bones, but words can, and that's absolutely not true. Words can sting. A teacher can make a student feel, oh, that was a stupid question you asked, and that can destroy the confidence of that student for the whole semester. And some teachers don't even realize they're doing that, and that's a terrible thing to do to a student. You need to reinforce them and give positive reinforcement where appropriate, and be gentle in your criticism, but honest in your criticism.
Certainly.
Well, in the last segment, we're going to learn something else that this young man does. You won't want to miss that. We'll be right back.
How do you like your chances the rest of the way?
I got no idea. But I do know that if we stay with Naples Rib Company, at least we won't go hungry.
Coach, what do you think about some of those questionable calls tonight?
Oh, yeah. But if you want a sound call, I'd call Naples Rib Company. You can't miss on that call.
Then Naples Rib Company is part of your game plan?
There really is nothing more motivating than a great barbecue meal at Naples Rib Company.
Victory or not, Naples Rib Company, great game plan.
Founded in 1976, Polly's Gourmet Coffee is Southern California's most complete gourmet coffee store. Polly's has the best tasting coffee, freshly roasted every day right in the store, plus a wide selection of teas, an in-house bakery, espresso bar, patio dining, and more. We also offer Wi-Fi, free internet access for all of our customers. Our nationwide clientele agree when it comes to coffee, there's only one name to remember, Polly's, 4606 East 2nd Street, welcoming you into Belmont Shore.
Phil Trainees mixes California style with continental cuisine that includes fresh seafood from around the world. Since Phil is the chef, the menu has a wide variety of pastas, salads, soups, and appetizers that feature his unique personal touch. And the Italian-American signature dishes are simply beyond delicious. You never know who you're going to run into at Trainees, from the famous sports legends on the Wall of Fame to local celebrities having a drink at the bar. For the best fine dining experience, visit Phil Trainees.
We're back with this great conversation with the incomparable Reggie Berry. Reggie, you also are on the National Board of Directors of the former NFL Players Association. You've been elected 4 times to 3-year terms, unprecedented. Tell us about your activities there.
Yeah, I've been working with them for a long time, since the early 90s. Actually, since the late 80s when I found out about the former players. And last 12 years or so, they've elected me to be on the board to represent their interests.
Congratulations. 4 times.
Yeah.
Even though it's only supposed to be a maximum of 3.
Yeah, so they made a law you can only run 3 times now.
It's the Reggie Jackson law.
Reggie Berry.
Berry law. You're also on the executive committee of the NFL Players Association, but you're not an active player, and yet you're on their board.
Right. There's only 2 of us in the country, and I'm proud to say I'm the highest elected former NFL player in the country. So I sit on the board with the active players.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know one of the issues for the older players is that there wasn't the same pension benefits, and the whole problem of concussions has become more prominent. And there are quite a few of the older players that have serious medical issues that are not covered by insurance.
That's true. You know, the thing about the older players, though, the pre-94 players, after you get 65, you got Medicare, Medi-Cal. And so what the Players Association seems to be doing is they get stuff for the guys that just left the league. And so it leaves the older guys out. And then in 94, we had negotiations in 93 with the owners, and they kind of left the older guys out. So one reason why I think that they elect me all the time is I'll speak out against that. I don't appreciate it. You know, I don't appreciate that if you played prior to 94, you don't get the benefits that the guys get after 94. Yeah. So we have what you call the legacy fund, and that came from out here from Bob Grant. He works in Goals for Life, and he runs the Players Congress. And that meant that you're supposed to make sure that we had so much money, make sure the guys that played 1, 2, and 3 years got, you know, a retirement. And what they did was they took that money, instead of doing what the legacy fund, they still call it the legacy fund, but they gave it to the guys that played after 94. And prior to 94, but the 3, 2, and 1 year players were still left out.
Wow.
Except if you played it after 94. Wow. So my question to the active players was, are you trying to say the guys that played 94, before 94, didn't play football, but you played football after 94? That wasn't what we were doing. You know, so we should have the same thing you have. Yeah. You know, but we don't. We never will.
But you keep up the fight.
We keep fighting that.
And you never give up.
Never.
That's what Winston Churchill said after World War II in that famous commencement speech. He just got up in front of the kids, this hero, and he said, just never, 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 never give up.
Never give up.
Stay with it. Mm-hmm. So what do you want to say to the young people tonight?
Well, that's the same thing we tell kids, you know. We say it's who you meet along the way, like you were just talking about. Who will quit? How easy do you quit? What makes you quit? You know, and what do you want to do with your life? You know, if you really want something bad enough, you'll never quit. You know, the thing about Goals for Life, I've been doing it for about 27, 28 years, and I've had some really hard times. But listening, every time I have a hard time, I listen to my high school football coach telling me, don't quit. So I can't quit. I'd wanted to quit, but I just can't quit.
Well, when you got in front of those 300, 400 people at your annual fundraiser, and they were there because of you and the people you've attracted to your organization, they were there for you. You could see it was very different from most evenings I've been at, and there was a real bond between you and the audience, and they were believers. They were your friends, supporters, and there was a lot of love in the room, even though it wasn't a room.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. You know, a lot of people want to work with kids, like I mentioned before, but I'm trying to create a vehicle where they can do it, and they can be successful at it. And that's Goals for Life.
Amen to that, Reggie. And we put up on the bumper the website of Goals for Life, goalsforlife.net, if you'd like to get involved, find out more about the organization. We'll be back with the rest of our show after these messages.
Phil Trainees mixes California style with continental cuisine that includes fresh seafood from around the world. Since Phil is the chef, the menu has a wide variety of pastas, salads, soups, and appetizers that feature his unique personal touch. And the Italian-American signature dishes are simply beyond delicious. You never know who you're going to run into at Trainees, from the famous sports legends on the Wall of Fame to local celebrities having a drink at the bar. For the best fine dining experience, visit Phil Trainees.
You've been planning this moment for a long time. It couldn't be a more perfect moment. And you have the perfect ring that will tell her, I want to love you forever. But nothing is perfect.
Don't listen to that guy. He got the ring at McCarty's.
McCarty's makes a moment.
At Performance Plus Tire, you'll find we carry Toyo tires. For over 50 years, Toyo has been a world leader in the development of high-quality tires. Optimum performance, safety, and a comfortable ride. That's what makes Toyo tires great. And now come into Performance Plus Tire for a great deal on these Toyo tires. Proxys ST, Open Country AT, and Proxys 4. Toyo tires, driven to perform. Come in today and we'll install new Toyo tires on your vehicle while you wait. Performance Plus Tire on Cherry Avenue, 1 mile north of the 405 in Long Beach.
As we're broadcasting this show during the holiday season, it's appropriate to ask the question, living a life that matters. What kind of life do you want to live? How do you want to be remembered? And I think our guest tonight, Reggie Berry, is a walking example of living a life that matters, the impact he's had on hundreds, in fact thousands of young men and women, making a difference in their life, which is what he has been doing together with his compatriots from the NFL. So thank you for what you do, Reggie.
Thank you for having me here, Art.
Final words to our viewers.
Well, we're all role models, you know, and I think that kids choose their role models. Adults don't choose their role models. Like when Barkley said he's not a role model, you know, he's a role model. You can't. To an 8-year-old kid, his 9-year-old cousin's his role model.
Yeah.
You know, to an 11-year-old kid, his 16-year-old brother's his role model. They choose their role models. Yeah. All we're supposed to do is walk in a way that other people want to follow. You know, so I'd like to thank some of the people that really helped me along the way. Gerald Gardner, who owns Coast Plaza Hospital. I had an office there since '94. And Dick Bass came to me and he said, the big guy wants to see you. And I didn't know who the big guy was. He was talking about Gerald. Wow. First thing I did when I went to see him, he says, what do you need? Wow. And I said, I need an office and a telephone. He said, see me next Wednesday and you got it. So it seems like if you're trying to do the right thing, somebody's going to help you.
It seems that, you know, there's a theory that if you're absolutely determined to do it, even there might be 50 things that you have to overcome, a lot of those, if you're really determined, seem to either melt away or people or things come in from the universe.
Yeah.
If your goal is clean and pure, to help you accomplish it. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you on behalf of the community for all that you do.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And wishing all of you guys a very happy holiday, and we'll see you next year on the next edition of Straight Talk. Good night, everyone.
Straight Talk has been brought to you by the Port of Long Beach, the Press Telegram, and Scan Health Plan. And remember, Straight Talk is viewable 24/7 at straighttalktv.com.